Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome you to the All In post show. We are going to break down all the things that we just saw in All In. I am struggling with my emotions right now after what we just saw with Bryan Danielson, the new AEW World Champion. He is not retiring yet. He is our new champion. Oh my God, what an emotional moment.
Emotional, shocking, but also in another way, kind of sad. He's in a lot of pain, and now he has to carry that championship. What does All Out look like?
Listen,
what does Grand Slam look like? Is Darby a Grand Slam? What does Wrestle Dream look like? What are we doing?
I understand where you're going with this, but this is Bryan. He is a sick guy, and he likes to torture himself, and I think he really thrives in these moments.
And that is the truth. He is the psycho of all psychos.
Yes.
And this story continues when he got that tap out right here tonight.
Oh,
the new champion.
Gosh.
Yeah. Can you believe it?
Unbelievable. Like, just such an amazing moment. I mean, honestly, the crowd out there, you guys got to see them. You guys were all a part of it. Like, just watching that show, seeing that crowd, watching those reactions, like, that is what professional wrestling is about. Like, it was just amazing.
Poor Birdie.
Oh my gosh. And Buddy.
Poor Birdie.
I thought that Brie was going to slap.
She just wants a dad.
No. Poor Prince Nana.
Well.
Poor Flash Garments. Poor Bun B. Swerve has had a heck of a run.
Yeah.
He did a lot of things that people thought he could not do. He certainly proved them wrong. And unfortunately, he could not get the job done tonight.
So, I'm sorry. Where do you guys think Swerve goes from here?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. It's like, we
Dark
know,
places. Dangerous places.
Right?
Yeah.
We know that Bryan now sits the very tippy top of AEW. I think he was always, in and around that picture to begin with. But now knowing that Swerve Strickland has signed his contract to stay here at AEW, I don't know the terms of that contract. I don't know the durations or anything like that. But he's here. Yeah, where does Swerve go from here? What does he do?
We're going to have to find out and talk about great timing signing that contract.
I know, right?
right before tapping out.
Even worse than that, our new champion is on a handshake deal with the company.
Things are wild.
When TK sits here later, would you mind asking him, what are you doing?
You know what? When they come in here, I will certainly be addressing that. We decided we play a fun little game where we list our star of All In. Do you want to list your star first? Who's your star?
Yes. Gotta go with Mariah May.
Okay.
And I do that begrudgingly because it was very shocking. Did quite a few disrespectful things. Spit on Luther, hit Luther, slapped her own mother.
That was...
Yeah, it's like a year's worth of therapy. She got a Storm Zero on the steps, but she came back. She played Tony Storm's emotional card. Tony Storm could not handle it. She did exactly what she came here to do. Yeah. And I think the entire crowd was shocked. She's my star.
Yeah. You want my star?
Yeah.
I mean, is there any doubt? Daniel Garcia.
Oh my gosh. And that shaved head?
Right. You like it?
I love it.
You love the shaved head?
Love it.
Red Death back. Little revenge. Feels good. It feels damn good. Number one star of the night, no doubt about it.
Oh my God, shut the fuck up.
Okay. Whoa, first of all, I was just going to do my star. I gives you my star.
You tell me I'm the star of the show. Well, the audacity of you to keep me waiting there while these bunch of fucking marks walk down the road. Wait for them to sit down. I'm so sick of it here. I'm sick of being treated like crap. Out there, I'm sick of being treated like crap. Right here, I am sick of it.
All right.
How dare Jamie come down here and get in my face? Does she know who she's messing with? Trying to embarrass me? In front of my family? Yeah, put the mic down, RJ. You're talking too fucking much.
Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry.
We got the whole family here.
Shut your mouth. This is a message for Jamie. You ever do that again, I'm going to beat your fucking ass. You hear me? Do you hear me?
I hear you.
And don't report it. Don't say anything bad about me. Even you in the back, I'll smack your fucking face. I see you look at me like shit, reporting bad things about me all the time. I'm the fucking star of the show. I'm Saraya, bitch, and this is my fucking house. Let's say hello.
Go over the clock. Thank you.
Are we on a delay?
One back report. I'm sending every one of my family members to your house. I don't care if they're male, I don't care if they're female. I don't care if they're
I don't like you.
Okay, understood. Sorry, I'm sorry about that. But thank you.
And you shut your mouth.
Okay. Come at me. Come on.
How's your boy?
Yeah.
Let's okay. All right.
You all right?
That was a lot of cursing,
Yeah.
first of all. Are you guys okay? That was actually pretty intense.
Yeah.
I don't
How do we go on from here?
Do I say my star?
Yeah, give us your star.
Oh, well, it feels like it took the wind out of the sails with that.
A little bit.
And say Nigel McGuinness had a great night.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do I elaborate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How about Nigel?
really threw everything off.
All right. That's just
Okay, let's talk about Nigel McGuinness.
about
I got to go out there and stand in the crowd watching the casino gauntlet match. As soon as his music hit, I just the reaction that he got from the crowd here. I mean, of course, hometown boy-ish. In just those moments of him and Zack Sabre Jr., him and Okada, to see him knowing how badly that man wanted to get back in the ring. He looks incredible. He's
phenomenal
in
shape.
Oh my goodness.
I kind of felt like something maybe was up because every week at Collision, you kind of see him rolling around in the ring. Like before, at one point, you try to grab me into that. No, Nigel, please leave me out of this. I want nothing to do with this.
So
okay?
I never
kind of roll around.
I never saw that, but I
Yeah.
just felt like every time I saw him, I'm like, Nigel's looking a little jacked.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Like lean,
Yes.
looking good.
I gotta say,
Hair
you're
on
being a
point.
little too complimentary towards Nigel.
Well, he did lose.
But he did lose.
Yeah.
He wanted the chip.
Mhm.
It would have given him a shot against Bryan Danielson.
Can you imagine?
Nice return. Gee, you look trim. Nice new shorts. You didn't get the job done. Does he go back to commentary? Does he keep wrestling now?
That was my question. Is he a full-time competitor?
Does he
Or is
flip-flop
he-
like this guy?
Hey, I'll tell you what. It'd be great if he was a wrestler.
Yeah.
I could swoop right in.
Let him get in there. Let him do it.
You know?
Okay, so as you just said,
Did
Nigel
they
McGuinness,
leave? They left.
they're gone.
Okay.
That
Just
was a
Do we,
lot
have,
of
do
them.
we not have security?
No. No,
Do we
not for
Where's
this.
Sam?
She's got to get fined for all of those.
She? What about the guy who said he didn't like me? Poked me in the side of the head.
He ruffled your hair up too.
He ruffled my hair. Yeah.
It's a little
You
Sorry.
can't touch a man's hair.
All right. Thank you.
smoothie out a little
Let's
bit.
get back on.
Okay,
Guys, what
let's
about-
talk about all of the returns
Well,
that we got to see tonight. You mentioned Daniel
Please.
Garcia. Jamie Hayter is back. Jake should have
Yeah,
probably
yeah, don't-
whispered
yeah.
that a little more.
What-
read the room.
What a reaction.
She's gone. She's
All
gone.
right.
We can react
Okay.
to Jamie Hayter. You and I got to be out there because this all happened
Mm-hmm.
on 0 hour. To hear that reaction of that crowd when Jamie Hayter's music hit. Oh my goodness. Where does she rank for you now in the women's division? You had said earlier how much the women's division and AEW have changed in her absence. So where's she going to rank?
Hot start. I think she's in for a very rude awakening. Mercedes Mone wasn't here the last time Jamie
Yeah.
was here. Mariah May was not here, was not champion the last time she was here. Toni Storm was still being an outcast when she was still here.
It's true.
Ruby
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
not pregnant.
Yeah, she's actually due for
A
this
lot
soon.
has changed.
Yeah.
Like it's the same type of thing that we said about Britt Baker.
Yeah.
The last time when she came back, it's not the
And
same.
look at how Britt fared
right,
tonight.
it's not the same AEW that
Mhm.
when these ladies left.
Yeah.
that they're coming back into.
Some other women who have some consequences heading into All Out
Oh.
are Willow Nightingale and
Hey
Chris
now.
Statlander.
Yes. So Willow, of course, won that match with Ishii, meaning that now she can choose a stipulation for All In, correct?
All Out.
Oh,
we
oh,
went
oh,
in
wait,
and
All
now
Out.
we're in
Guys,
right
it's
now.
late. I
And
don't
then
know
when we
what
leave,
time
we go
zone I'm
out.
in.
On the way out.
All Out for that CMLL World Women's Championship. So very excited to see what stipulations she's going to pick. 'Cause I think that people are really understanding that Willow can be sick as well.
Absolutely.
Mm.
But how about Stokely and Ishii going
Oh
at
my
it? Did you guys get a
God.
load of that?
Tell them what I said. If I watch the match,
RJ
tell them what I said.
RJ said that I think that Stokely had such a showing that perhaps he could participate in the G1 next year.
It's a ridiculous statement. But did he hit a spine buster?
Yeah, exactly.
I
Not
could
so
not-
ridiculous now,
I
is
could
it?
not believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I came out of my seat.
Stoke against Naito. Stoke against Tanahashi.
Keep it going.
This
Yeah,
is
I'm
what
very
the
ready for
people
this.
want. The people want the Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Who knows what
Oh,
could
yes.
happen?
Then Forbidden Door's going to be in
Right
London. That's
here.
even more forbidden than before.
We also saw the return of Sting tonight.
Oof.
Ooh, that coffin match. Good God. I knew that those guys were going to absolutely demolish each other and didn't disappoint.
How about the glass?
Yes.
The glass, unbelievable.
I saw the Young Bucks after their hands were all
Yeah.
torn to shreds. Like, had to go to the doctors
Yep.
to go see.
Jack Perry all torn up.
Yeah.
The winner, though, victorious.
Do you
Still
know?
TNT champion.
Sorry, I cut you
Go
off.
ahead.
Yes, TNT champion.
Please go ahead. No,
Finish
please.
your
No, I
sentence.
had nothing.
I heard that Darby Allin used Gorilla Glue to put those tacks on his face. Gorilla Glue.
Wow.
This guy's
that
an
doesn't
absolute
come
psycho.
off.
No.
And then somebody else reiterated that at one point he Gorilla Glued hot rods to his
I
head.
just, what is Gorilla Glue?
You don't know Gorilla Glue?
No.
It's like
I know Crazy Glue.
It's like Crazy Glue.
Okay.
It's
Gorilla
maybe
Glue.
crazier than
Glue?
Crazy Glue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like on
It's
there.
one upped.
It is
That
one
is
up
wild.
from that.
Darby
We
Allin.
also saw tonight the return of the Tiger Driver.
Oh boy.
Holy shit. We've been
Mhm.
swearing out here. I can let that fly, right, Matt?
There's a move I never need to see again.
Well, I ran to you right
Yeah,
after
yeah.
and I was like, oh
No.
my God.
What are we doing?
I think everybody that I was around gasped gasped during that. I mean, we were sort of anticipating he's going to go that way. We saw that Brian had really wanted Will to bring that into the match tonight, and good God, did he?
Well, look, nobody wants to see it more than me. I want to see Max, eat everything he could, and even that was a bit much.
It was a
He
lot.
ate his own pelvis.
Yeah, it was a pretty
That's what
unbelievable.
Let's talk about some other returns.
Okay.
Grizzled young veterans.
Yeah.
Hey,
Did not think they would be making an appearance tonight.
Absolutely not.
Staking their claim on the tag team division.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
Things
And
picking up.
let's go from returns to debuts.
Oh, Ricochet is in the house. It's official. He's here. All of the buzz of Ricochet coming here to AEW. You always talk about those star-making moments. We all know how amazing Ricochet is. He moves unlike any other
Absolutely.
athlete,
Fastest
any
I've ever seen
other
him tonight.
wrestler. Like, dude's a freak. But to watch him come out and soak up that moment, you could see how much that meant to him. This is a guy that has been chomping at the bit for years and years to finally really get that moment to step up into that role. And I think coming here to AEW is a perfect place for him to really cement his status.
Hey, we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see what Ricochet's got.
Think of the
This is what it's
matches
all
that
about
are
now.
on the
That's
table. Ricochet and Ospreay, Ricochet and Leo Rush, Ricochet and Pac. This is insane. Ricochet and hologram.
I mean,
Sign me up, my
Hologram.
friend. Can I also point out there's a match that I'm currently petitioning to see? Yes.
Go
I
for it.
need to see Leo Rush against Satnam Singh. If anyone is listening, I saw them square off in that tag. I got to see this whole match.
all
was
night long
very
he's been trying to get it
interested.
done. Signed on the dotted line for Wednesday. That's what he wants, this guy.
It's tremendous.
Have you talked to Tony about this?
No, we don't.
Do you now just off the cuff here, but do you think that if Leo Rush hitting the ropes here, he can go right through Satnam's legs?
Possibly.
That's what I was wondering on commentary.
There's only one way to find out.
You kill me on commentary,
Hey,
by the
yeah?
way. Just about
Hey, I'm
everything you
glad.
say makes me laugh.
I'm glad.
Big
Good.
Can I
fan.
read some tweets?
Oh,
People are
Read some
tweeting
tweets.
about us right now.
Oh my God, what are they saying?
RJ City looks very handsome right now. I'm showing you. You can
That's a
verify that's
lie.
real. And you
Who
can
said
also
that?
verify this. I'm sorry, Renee Paquette. That is the ugliest top I have ever seen. I only say this because you're normally the best dressed person in the room. Sorry, RJ City. Hashtag AW All In.
What the?
God,
Yeah.
who reads that?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you even read that? Like, it's okay
Yeah.
if it's there.
That's
Oh
good.
But
my!
he
You
read
didn't
it.
have to like. You could. I mean,
Yeah.
even if whatever.
We're not even talking about the swamp ass.
I
here.
love.
What?
I love this dress. It's itching my whole body. I've been enduring it for the entire day. I've
You were
been in
attacked
it
by a
since
bee?
11 a.m. I was
Good
attacked
Lord.
by a bee today. We're out there doing 0 hour. Bees were trying to pollinate this dress.
Yeah.
And
You- no,
stop, saved
stop.
me.
Yeah.
I'm not. I
Stop.
kid you not.
I hate bees.
Tell them.
I
I
blew
hate
it off
bees.
her.
No, I hate bees. I hate bees. I hate wasps.
Yeah,
Get 'em out.
I was
Look
under
at that.
attack, and RJ saved me. I didn't know he was
Yeah.
chivalrous, even though he
heroic
just
like
buried
that.
me
Yeah,
in front of everybody with that tweet.
Let's look ahead. Let's look into a crystal ball. Let's talk about All Out.
Okay.
Make us some predictions, Daddy Magic.
Well, if I'm looking at the landscape, we're talking about the World Championship. How do you not bet on a Jack Perry getting a title shot? Maybe
Sure.
Mm-hmm. He
Sure.
did beat Darby.
he's the TNT
Darby
champion.
has this, yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, I know we got Grand Slam coming up, and that's where Darby's going to be getting his title
Right.
match, even though he lost tonight.
Mhm.
I have another question too, though, because let's not forget that Hangman also inserted himself in that match. I know his sights are set on Swerve, but now with Brian having the title, is his problem going to be with Swerve, or is he going to go back to wanting that title?
I mean, the title is what we do this for,
Yes,
right?
of
The
course.
championship. He's got a family.
Is his problem going to be with England's favorite son, Jeff Jarrett?
Jeff Jarrett.
That thing's
Okay,
still
can
on
we
the
talk
table.
about Jeff Jarrett getting tossed over the top rope? I could not believe it. Poor Jeff Jarrett. guy's been through enough.
Karen Jarrett in that yellow dress, though. I mean, if we want to talk about a good dress, that was a good dress.
That was a good
but
dress.
apparently,
It
I
was
don't
a
know
good dress.
anything. So
Nah, you
take
look lovely,
that.
Renee.
Thank you.
These
I
things
appreciate
happen.
it.
It's okay.
I
These things
appreciate it
happen.
very much.
Let's talk about something else before I forget.
Okay.
The FTW Championship has finally returned to essentially its rightful owner.
Hook now being the first ever
Three-time,
three-time FTW champion. Congratulations to him. But Taz,
Oh, T, my man T.
Yeah.
did you talk to Taz about any of this?
I mean, look.
Did you have the inside scoop?
I mean, look. Me and T sometimes we're close. We don't always get along.
I think
He's
he
a-
was mad at me today.
He's a very
He
hard
liked
man
my
to get
intro.
along with. Let's be honest. But he let it be known that if things got a little wild out there, he'll dust himself off.
With
Slap a
you,
little.
you know, you've obviously you have spent a ton of
That's Taz mission.
I thought it was a cobra.
with Taz. That goes this way and then like this. You've spent a ton of time with Taz, but you also worked very closely with Chris Jericho. What's
it's
your spin on
Oh,
this
Lord.
iteration
That
of Chris
is-
Jericho and the Learning Tree?
I mean, the waving. All right.
Hi,
Hold on.
guys.
At one point, I thought he was turning into a mascot. right? Just coming out like, like he's Andre the Giant on a float or something. I don't know. But, I mean, it's just, to me, it's just typical Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Right. It's just who he is. And he's the master of reinvention.
Sure.
Right. And this is just another path that he's taking. Right. He's got his goons with him.
Yeah.
It's right up his alley. That's the way I see things.
Yeah.
What happens now, though? Because to me, is the crowd kind of warming up to Chris Jericho? Am I crazy?
No, but you're
Am
right.
I crazy, or is it just London?
I think you're a little crazy.
It's a little crazy.
A little
I
bit
don't
if you
know.
ask me.
I think the crowd comes and goes with it because I'm with you. There's,
I don't know.
and because it actually,
Are they ironically liking it? I don't.
it kind of goes around that
Yeah.
circle, right? Where you're like, I hate this shit.
Yeah.
Maybe I kind of like this. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's cyclical like that a little bit, right?
So I don't know.
Chris knows it. Chris knows what's
And look,
up.
I'm not the guy to ask about Chris Jericho. I'll always have a soft spot for him. I love the man.
Yeah,
He's
sure.
a hero growing up, and
Of course.
You
changed my
appreciate
life.
him.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Something else that I appreciate, our new trios tag team champions, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta. I mean, those guys really came out victorious tonight.
I can't
This
believe
new
they did it.
team.
I didn't sense any chemistry. I only sensed aggression and animosity.
Sometimes that's all it needs.
In a
to get it
London
done.
ladder match, it works.
And in the ladder match. Good God.
Yeah, I mean, right? People
When
falling
you
everywhere.
see ladder matches
it's
on a
just
card, you're
hold
like,
your breath.
I'll take that one off. Take that day off.
And Christian, how many more does he have to be in?
What a genius.
This guy.
Is there anybody who had a
Come on.
worse / better night?
No, he's
Then
got
Christian.
the chip.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
He's
what
got
does
the
this
chip.
mean now? So Christian Cage now has a casino gauntlet chip. He can cash in. Is it on the world title, not just any
Yep.
title, the
No.
world title
No.
specifically. All right, at any given moment. So
I-
now Brian's got to worry about Christian breathing down his neck.
He's got Christian. He's got Perry. He's got Darby. He's got Hangman.
Do you think he's just done with
Swerve.
Swerve at this
No,
point?
no, he's not
Yeah,
done
like
with
there's
Swerve.
no
Nigel,
way.
rematch.
Nigel,
Come
Damn.
on.
For a friendly guy, Brian Danielson has sure made a lot of enemies.
Well,
Yeah, good luck to you,
but
Brian.
we all know I love Brian. I've known him a very long time. I've got a great relationship with Brian, but he can be a dick.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A bearded dick. Yeah.
Yes.
I think he
So
should
I'm
tell.
not surprised that he has
He's very
some
condescending.
enemies.
Yeah.
Very condescending.
Yeah.
Very condescending.
I would say if I was Brian, I would say, Bree, Birdie, thanks for coming. This night worked. Stay at home for the rest of the run because it is not going to be pretty from here on
How
out.
long?
No.
How long is it going to last?
I don't
You know
know.
how long
Think
until
about
this
this. I
candles
mean,
burn?
Christian used to be in a similar position.
Yeah.
His career was ended, not by his own doing. He had a slew of neck injuries. He knows exactly what that pain is
Yeah,
like.
much like Soraya that came in here and screamed at all of us and cursed at every one of us. I'm sorry to whoever back there she pointed out.
That's
and
rough.
Cursed at too.
But to that point, Brian's already been through that.
Yes.
Right. He had a career-ending injury.
Yep.
He came back years later.
Yeah.
Right. Ended up on this run. Sounds like it's coming to a close. And now he's the world champion.
Mhm.
But I think we all really do question, is it coming to a close? Is there a world where Brian is not involved in professional wrestling? I mean, we were talking to Jeff Jarrett about it on 0 Hour, and he was like, I feel like he's all in when he's all in, and maybe he is just going to go home and be with his family and go on camping trips and do all these nice things. But I just don't see Brian ever fully walking away from this.
At what point when he's home with the family and 2 weeks go by and 3 weeks go by and then it's a month and then 6 months and you sit there twiddling your thumbs?
Yeah.
How many camping trips can you go on?
Yeah, I mean,
He could go on a lot. He
Camping,
seems
not
like a
that fun.
camper.
Let's be honest.
I will say this. You say you don't see him walking away. No, I don't see him walking away. The only way he's going to leave this business is in a horrible, mangled state. And I don't even know if I want to see it.
Well, it does make me cringe a little bit. I mean, listen, when we saw him on Dynamite this past week and we saw him fire up, Brian cursing, let's talk about that. That's a good time. But hearing him say that he's going to leave his soul in that ring, it makes me kind of shudder a little bit because I think he quite literally means
he meant
that.
it.
Yeah.
He meant it. He's going to leave his soul.
Yes,
in
isn't
the
just
ring.
like blood and tears.
No,
I think
we're going to have to peel him off the mat
Yes.
one day.
Yes.
That is what's going to happen, right?
So
That
I
is
hope
what's
you're
gonna
all
happen.
proud of yourself.
You did it.
Really back the right horse, guys. Let's read some more tweets, shall
Sure,
we?
Please.
First of all, Renee, it's champing at the bit. Horse is champ, not chomp. That was their guidance.
I've just said chomp for years.
This
that
guy,
right?
Yeah.
Can we circle back?
It's champing at the bit.
Yeah. I thought you were a horse gal. You don't
It's
know. You don't know.
chomping.
You're not equestrians.
Literally everyone unanimously just nodded that it's chomping at the bit.
Chomping.
Renee's dress
I've
is
never heard
amazing. She
champing in
looks
my life.
fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell Renee her top is actually beautiful. This is
Thank
real
you.
come from
All
behind
right, here we
story
go,
for your
here we go.
outfit.
There
Renee,
it
you look
is.
great.
He just feels bad. He's making that up. No one's saying that. He feels bad that he buried me.
Oh, the guy who wrote it is apologizing.
Oh.
Thanks, State, for reading this to her. I didn't expect to get dragged by Renee Paquette to her face this morning, but I'll take it. Love you, Renee.
Yeah, suck
You
a big
always-
one.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
How about it?
Yeah, how about
Speaking about a big one, what about Satnam Singh against Leo Rush next week? That's what I'm
That
campaigning
is the
for.
big one. How are you guys feeling? We've got all the media in here with us. I don't know. I guess what are we on YouTube right now?
On Twitter.
We're
that
streaming
thing, or
somewhere. We've
streaming.
got all the
We're
media
streaming.
in here. It has been so amazing being in London. Like we did Cardiff, then we came here. We've been in London all week. What a town. Did you get to go out and do much?
I did. Took the family,
Yeah.
took them around, saw Big Ben, did all that Buckingham Palace stuff.
Yeah.
Got caught in the rain. That was great.
Oh my
With a
God.
3-year-old?
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, my mom had to buy my kid a whole new outfit because of
Really?
it. Yeah, yeah.
We didn't have an umbrella.
No,
as we're just
same. Hey, we
not
rented
prepared at
umbrellas.
all.
Did you return those the other day?
No, I didn't. She rented an umbrella, and it's like return in 48 hours. She entrusted me
Hold
with
on,
the
you can
umbrella.
rent
and I
an
left it
umbrella?
somewhere.
I rented 3 of them. I don't think any of them got
She gets a
returned.
$20 fine.
That's fine.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that all it is?
No
Yeah.
big deal.
I can work with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, Will Ospreay tonight. What a star that guy is, huh?
Mhm.
Good Lord. That guy just has that star quality about him. We all know this. You guys all know this. You guys have been watching him for so long. But I'm always so impressed by him. And I'm really not like bullshitting when I say that. Whether I'm sitting down doing an interview with him, watching him do his entrance, just watching him carry himself and sort of stepping into the role as that new guy. I really thought if Brian was on his way out, that this was going to be the moment for Will to really start stepping into that Brian role.
Yeah, like he's gonna become the guy.
He's the guy.
right?
He's going to
He's
be the guy.
And we made the old switcheroo, right? The American title,
Yep.
It's
Thank
gone.
God.
right?
Thank
Brought the
God.
international.
Yeah.
It's back.
Yeah.
Thank God. You're right. You know,
Yeah, we had to restore that thing.
did he come out as Apollo Creed tonight? Is that what that was?
Yeah, those were Apollo Creed
Right?
shorts.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
about they did the whole? He had the hat, the whole
Yeah.
deal.
The whole shebang.
I'll tell you what, Max looked good. It looked good.
Yeah.
He was in good shape.
Coming
No
out,
one's ever
looked like
going
a
to
star.
deny that. I mean, Max works his ass off. We all know that. We just like Will
I
better.
can't. I mean, yeah.
I love what I love about Will. He's so endearing. He seems like the most like average British person in the world who also happens to be the greatest
Yeah,
wrestlers of all
Superman.
time. He has a humility about
Superman.
him that is infectious.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's like the common British man because have you seen those thighs when he's walking around?
Yeah, but have you heard him like talk about
They're-
Nando's?
For real. I don't mean that in a perverse way. The legs on this guy are insane.
I mean inside.
I know.
you know
but
what I
just
mean?
yeah.
You know, he's a humble person.
Yeah, he's
Nice
he's an
guy.
everyman.
Yeah,
if
he's
you
an
will, if
everyman.
you will, right?
With
Like,
good, with good quants.
absolutely. Great locker room guy too. Couldn't be happier for him. Had a little help. Had a little help tonight.
Did have
Yeah.
a little help
Daniel Garcia,
from an American.
You know,
I think there's a
Huh.
lesson about patriotism in there, and yeah,
maybe I was a common link. The Commonwealth. You know,
sure,
Eh?
yeah, yeah.
Canada.
I love. We're all so
Yeah.
familiar with history. Yeah,
All
we
right.
can all
That's us.
speak on this.
What was the conversation you had with Garcia after he got to reestablish himself tonight?
I mean, just what do we do now? You know?
Yeah.
He's happy. He's back. He's feeling good.
Yeah.
You know, feeling back in the left side of his body. Strength is back. It's body looked good. God, I was pumped to see him. I was so happy to see him in the back. Yeah, we were just thrilled,
Yeah.
right? That the like we got a measure of revenge
Mm-hmm.
tonight.
Did
Yeah.
you know?
You know?
Did he give you any hints? He
Yeah,
was
I know.
taking a fight?
Yeah.
You knew the whole
Yeah.
time.
Well, not the whole time, you know, and you never know until you see him here in person, you know. But so between you and I,
Mm.
okay,
And everybody here.
like apparently I passed him this afternoon. I didn't even know. I passed him in the hall. I had no idea. He goes, "I thought you were mad at me." And then I'm
Just
watching.
because of the shaved head, it threw you off?
No, he's kind of
Incognito.
yeah,
a little bit.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, but I was walking by with my wife and son, and he's tried to stop us apparently, and I just blew him off.
So I sort of had a bit of a similar experience.
There you go.
I saw him as well, but I was like, I know that face, but it just something was not.
Didn't click.
I know because I
right?
wasn't expecting to see him.
It didn't click.
Yeah, the guy's fantastic. Oh, wait, well, we're talking about like where people are going to go and what they're going to do. What the hell is Toni Storm going to do now? I mean, she's lost
Okay.
everything.
A little hot tip. I guess the video will be out at some juncture. Our cameras tried to catch up with her
Mhm.
after her exit. She walked out of the building in her gear.
Oh.
She just walked out to the streets of London, and
Hold on.
Luther was
She's
chasing
just walking
after-
down the
She's
street.
She
No
just
car, no
walked
nothing?
out. No. She's a footer. She footed it, and Luther was after her. She was.
a
I
little
don't. She
chilly-
was like
it's chilly
happy,
outside,
but
too.
crying,
It
but
was
laughing,
cold.
but in pain. Luther was in tears, which was quite a sight to see.
Yeah.
I never thought I would see that. Her chest was so red.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Blistered up.
Yeah, and you know who else knows how stiff Mariah May is? Mariah May's mother.
Mhm.
This poor woman.
I know.
This poor
She
woman.
must have a broken eardrum or something.
I mean,
Why she slap her mom? What is her story?
what's her
there?
problem?
Like, what
I don't know.
happened?
Sometimes,
You have the inside scoop?
Do I have the inside
Yeah.
scoop? Yeah, a psychologically unwell person. I mean, and in the wrestling business, that makes you successful. I can't get into that right now, but that's what it's stemming from.
Well,
Sure,
she's a
her mother was very mad at what she did to Luther, and to be fair, yeah, she spit on Luther and then hit him with the shotgun drop kick, went flying into the
Well,
barricade.
Look, what a night for Luther, huh?
Yeah.
Big return. And that was
And that was crying
that was the height of
in
it. That was the height of
Destroyed.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the height
So
of it.
if anyone goes home tonight and sees Tony Storm walking around, I don't think she has a purse or a phone or anything. I don't know.
As we talk about the women's championship, how about the TBS championship? Mercedes Moné was able to retain her title tonight against Britt Baker. Those women crushed each other. I mean, did you see that moment off the top rope?
I'll be honest.
You
I
didn't
did not.
see it?
I did not
You didn't
see it.
see it? There was
multiple
Oh my
moments on the top
God.
rope.
Yeah.
There was a side slam onto the top turnbuckle, and then there was a body slam off the top rope to Britt, and she landed. That was a thud. It was like throwing a steak off the kitchen counter. It was
I
horrific.
saw Britt lipping around backstage right before we came out here.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
we
it makes sense.
we talked to Britt yesterday,
Yeah.
and she was talking about how well scouted she had Mercedes Moné, how she always looked up to Mercedes Moné, tried to close the gap,
Yep.
and I feel like the gap widened tonight.
Well, it did widen because Mercedes is still where she is, and now Britt. I don't know if we're saying this get to the back of the line kind of a situation, or like again, where does Britt go from here? We're talking about All Out being just around the corner, but we're like 2 weeks away from being at All Out. It's like I don't know what the future looks like for her as our women's division continues to get deeper.
Saraya came out here earlier and started to bitching and moaning about not being on Wembley this year, right?
Yeah.
And is Britt Baker going to find herself in a similar type of
Right.
situation in the months going forward?
Right.
That's just the nature of what we do, right?
Yeah.
You don't win matches, you go to the back of the line. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter how big of a star you were 2 years ago. What are you doing now?
What have you done for me lately?
Yes.
That's
And
just how it goes.
The nature of the competition in AEW, this women's roster may be the deepest women's roster in history.
Yep.
Because look who's sitting on the bench: Thunder Rosa, Deonna Purrazzo, Athena,
Yep.
Billy Starks, Queen Aminata, Red Velvet.
I want more Billy Starks in my life. Let me tell you.
She's accessible. You can tweet her. She tweets
Well,
back.
I mean, yes, in my life, but I mean, like on my TV. I know I can talk to her.
Ring of Honor television champion.
Yeah.
Get the app.
Thank you.
Thursdays.
Not what I meant.
I understand.
But thank
I
you.
understand.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's Tony Schiavone.
Tony Schiavone, come on down. Let's have a word.
Come on,
Not had enough
Schiavone.
blue-
Guys, give it up. The
How about it?
legendary
Sit over here. Come in. Come on.
Tony
Come on.
Schiavone.
Bring your little drink. Sit down here. Let's have a good time.
God bless.
My wife had to go pee, so I just thought I'd stop in.
Well,
How you feeling?
I feel great.
Yeah?
We had a great night.
It was a beautiful
Oh,
night.
my God.
Is there a moment that stood out for you?
Yeah, Bryan Danielson's
Of
match.
course.
Obviously, I thought
Yeah.
Britt Baker had a great match.
Yep.
She really did.
Yep.
After being off for so long.
Yep. We were
Uh,
just talking about that one.
I must ask you, because you do sit next to him a lot of the time. What did you think of Nigel's return?
Who?
That answers
Damn.
that.
Damn.
No, I was excited for Nigel. I thought he really performed, and I thought that he was a great addition to the show. And I love that Christian Cage gave him a spear because he will never live that down.
Do you know the terms of Nigel's contract? Is he a full-time competitor or is he an announcer?
I don't know I don't know. I just know he's very rich.
Well,
Now,
good for him.
did you have to? How quickly did you have to get that one? Its sting out of the chamber. Were you shocked to see him? Did you have to warm up? Tell me about that.
You know, I was able to get it out of the chamber, so to speak.
Well, you do a pretty rigorous warm-up.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you've got
Yeah.
the whole vocal
I got the whole
thing.
vocal warm up and the bottle and everything that I do because
I-
I'm old.
Oh, I could have used
Yeah.
one of those today. I don't know.
Really?
I'm very
Okay.
raspy.
Hey,
Tired.
how about Matt Menard's suit, huh?
what?
Do
All
us a-
right, talk about
yeah.
swamp ass.
Do
This
us a
guy
favor.
has
No,
red
I'm,
leather.
Do us a favor and zip it up.
Oh, take it
Jesus
easy,
criminy.
Schiavone.
Okay. All right.
Tony Schiavone, everybody.
Thank you very much.
A pleasure.
Hey.
A pleasure.
Give our best to your lovely wife.
And you said your stand-up special is called Delirious, and it's out on
Here he
HBO.
is. I'll
I
be Eddie
almost
Murphy.
just did a bit from it. Good thing I didn't. We were talking about the girls.
Yes, the deep women's roster, Billy
Yes.
Starks.
Yes.
And
all
now
of
we
these
got
incredible women.
Willow's a CMLL champion. This
Yep.
roster's slow, and I have to say, Mina Shirakawa, she was in
Yeah.
Yeah.
the bleachers tonight. Last night, she won the Rev Pro title
Hell
in the UK.
yes.
I feel like this roster is slowly taking over all of women's wrestling.
All right. Not only is that roster continuing to grow and change, we also made some huge announcements tonight that we've got
Mhm.
AEW going to Australia February 15th. Have you been to Australia?
I have not.
Have
But
you
we're
been
gonna
to
be going.
Australia?
No, and I don't want to go. Big
It is
spiders, and
a-
I'm a Meg.
Hell of a long flight,
Grand
but it is
Slam.
worth it.
Mhm.
It's so great. I cannot wait for that.
We got a little bit of a stadium series we got coming up, right? That's kind of what this is.
Yep.
Let's talk about some Australians we have on the roster.
Okay.
Tony Storm,
Kyle
of
Fletcher.
yes. Kyle Fletcher,
Yes.
Harley Cameron
Yes.
is also Australian. She's got to get her druthers together.
Well,
Tonight was not
yeah.
her best
They've
night.
got a lot of issues over
Yeah.
there right now.
A lot of issues.
Yeah. And what about Mark Davis, who's still on the shelf? Aussie Open.
Yes.
Kyle Fletcher's former tag team
Yeah,
partner.
time
Gotta
to bring
figure-
those guys home. Let them have their homecoming. It is very special though when you get to see people have that homecoming welcome.
No question
It's
about it.
really
It adds
great.
just a different type of pressure,
Of
right?
course, if
There's
you're
so-
wrestling in Montreal,
crazy.
like
There's
of
so, but
course.
there's stuff you don't even think of that you have to handle, right? You got to get tickets for your friends and your
Oh.
family. You got to make sure they're all situated. It's
You're good at that, right?
It's I'm not really, I mean, I've done it a little bit, but geez, good
It
lord.
is hard. It's
Yeah,
really hard doing
it's
that. Like
tough.
you're
And
excited.
then prepare for your match. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you're probably in a big spot
Mm.
if you're lucky enough, you know?
But then what is it like to come back to your home like Soraya with your family around ringside and get embarrassed like that?
Yeah, that's tough.
The highs are high and the lows
That's
are very
very-
low.
I
I mean,
wasn't
that's tough,
expecting
right?
those boos
I was.
For
for Soraya.
oh yeah. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, she
Damn,
turned.
man.
I mean, but there
I
was a
mean, she
reaction
deserved it
when
after
she
what
came-
we just saw.
when
Boo
she
her
came
ass,
out,
but-
there was a nice little reaction.
Yeah.
Okay. But once we gave the woman a live mic,
Mm.
you saw what she just did here. I know it was a mistake right away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what did we think was going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
It's
You
no
know?
secret. Soraya and I are very close friends, but when I see her turn that switch, I'm like, I'm gonna give you some space.
Mm.
Yeah.
Also coming up, we got a Grand Slam.
Mhm.
We're back in Arthur Ashe.
Yep.
Last time we were there, do you remember this? We came out in the crowd and we watched it together.
That's right.
New Yorker Eddie Kingston defeated
That's right.
Claudio.
I
This-
miss Eddie.
Uh,
You guys miss Eddie, yeah? We all miss Eddie.
He's-
Let's get that guy back.
He's growing his beard out.
Guys,
Oh yeah, he looks like a real hobo.
guys. I was on
That's true.
FaceTime with this man the other day, and it took me a second to see. I can't imagine his phone recognizes him
Yeah.
when he opens it. He looks a little
I
bit
have-
wild.
I
but-
have a group chat with Eddie and Taz.
oh my what?
Wow.
It's,
The
Two of the
commercial New
angriest
York
guys.
You-
accents.
we might as well
group chat.
just we should have a podcast just says called "What Sucks Today," and we just go off.
You know what I,
love
did
it.
to Eddie? Because he did
Tell
that
us.
little interview, that promo on Brian
Yeah.
Danielson. What's the big deal? Blah, blah, blah. I was so happy that he was back on TV. I sent him 18 yellow roses.
That's nice.
Yeah, I did.
I sent Eddie some crafts for men. I sent him a bonsai tree and I sent him a whittling kit.
Wow, I sent him nothing.
Wow, you're a piece of shit. You should send him something.
Let's read some more tweets. Look, somebody tweeted the GIF of Eddie Murphy to show you my reference to the joke. That's great. You should get the purple one from Delirious.
Maybe I'll get
It'd
the
be great.
purple one.
Be really, really nice.
We're just stalling until everyone gets here. by
Thank
the
you. At
way.
least they include him in on
Oh
it.
my!
Yeah,
well,
we've talked about
thank
all
you.
the things we can talk
We got-
about.
we-
I don't know.
Thank you, Sierra Lininger. Don't forget about the Bucks retaining.
Ah, yes.
Well, we spoke about that, didn't we?
Well,
but let's
we
just
touched
talk about
about
Well, guys,
grizzled
listen,
young
listen.
veterans.
All right, we're not going to talk about that because I'm being told that we're moving on with the show.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
guys, it's
Okay.
been a blast.
Is this it?
Yeah,
This is
I
done.
appreciate you guys hanging out with me for that amount of
The
time.
pre-show, post-show.
Pre-show, post-show.
All right,
Here we
well,
are, baby.
Enjoy what's
I'll
coming
see-
up.
Enjoy your flights home tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
9 a.m. Let's go.
See you later.
See
All right,
you
bye,
guys. Thank
guys.
Good night, everyone.
I'm gonna move over here. Make some way. Boy, this dress. If anyone comments on it again, I swear. All right, let's move these things over here. Move all my junk over here. All right, guys, let's get this media scrum underway. Please welcome out. We've got Tony Khan and the new AEW World Champion, Bryan Danielson.
Very well. Very well.
And Birdie. Everybody give it up for Birdie.
Do you want to sit in that chair? Or do you want to sit on Daddy's lap?
Bryan, first of all, a huge congratulations. What an amazing moment to be able to have your family there at ringside, to have Birdie, Buddy, Bree, and to see all that hard work pay off. We were all obviously hoping that this is what the outcome was going to be. Dare I ask how you're feeling right now?
I feel pretty great. People ask me all the time what my favorite moment is in wrestling, and I can never give them one answer because I've loved all of it. But this is the first time she remembers seeing me wrestle live. This is the first time my son's ever seen me wrestle live. And without a doubt, that was my favorite moment in my entire career.
All right, we'll open up the floor to you guys to ask some questions to Brian.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So I'm Jorge Cervera from Lucha Libre Online. Brian, congratulations. First of all, was a great match. I really enjoyed it. And I came all the way from Mexico to see this match. And I want to ask you right now that you are the champ, it's possible to saw you again over there in Mexico. Now it's a champ. And Tony, I've been in Mexico with the big champ, Brian Danielson, and you already have the dream match you won with Blue Panther. But right now, you are the champion.
So I honestly haven't thought about my future at all past tonight. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'll be there in Champaign, Illinois on Wednesday. And between now and then, we'll figure it out. And I'm sure I'll have an announcement then.
Hi, Brian. Thank you very much for everything. Mark O'Brien from bodyslam.net. I'm just wondering, just off the back of that question, you've now surpassed Swerve. You've talked previously about possibly finishing up at Wrestle Dream in Tacoma, Washington. Do you have any potential opponents in mind for that, should you make it that far?
I honestly, like I said, this was my sole focus, is tonight. And I was really happy with how things turned out. And then everything going forward, I'm going to have to think about. Because, sweet girl, did you want Daddy to come home after this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how can I,
Over here next.
So Jamal Niaz here for Seconds Out. Brian, I just want to know your thoughts on Swerve as an opponent. This time last year, he was lower on the card. Now, him walking as world champion, giving you one of the greatest matches of your career, where does he rank in terms of the best opponents you've faced in your career?
So I don't like to rank opponents as far as like, oh, this person's better than this person or this person's better than this person. Swerve is incredible. Like every step of the way. I think in terms of the build for this match, Swerve carried the load and he did an incredible job. And he's been an incredible world champion. And I can't speak highly enough about who he is as a wrestler, as an interviewer, and or as how he is like when he does interviews and all that kind of stuff, how he is with the press. He's just so good. And just overall, what a wonderful human being.
Marcus Grumman from Headlock. You've stressed that you haven't thought about your future, but you rooted for Zack Sabre to actually win the G1, which he did, and he will now challenge Naito in October. And we still got that one rubber match coming. So we have the big show in January. So could we possibly see Zack Sabre versus Bryan Danielson, champion versus champion in January in Japan?
So nothing is impossible. One, I also this year, I mean, what a year! It just doesn't seem real. I got to wrestle Okada in the Tokyo Dome this year. I got to wrestle Blue Panther in Arena, Mexico. I'd love to wrestle in the Tokyo Dome again, and I would have no better opponent. I couldn't choose a different opponent, but I'd rather wrestle in the Tokyo Dome than Zack Sabre Jr. Even though I lost, the match that I had with him in Osaka this year is actually one of my artistically favorite matches that I've ever had, as far as just, there's the flow state, right? When you're not thinking, you're just doing, you're just acting. It felt like this tandem flow state because I can't grapple like that with anybody else except him. And the things that were happening in that match, just like when I got to the back, even though I'd lost, I was like, I had so much fun, and it just gives me chills. So I would love to do it again.
Emily May with Wrestling News Co. Congratulations. So you are now world champion and you have always been a leader across the industry. And so how will you lead as champion into this new chapter for you?
Gosh, I haven't really thought about it. I've tried to be, in my entire time in AEW, I've tried to be a leader backstage. And so I'll just keep continuing to do that. The stuff as far as wins and losses out there, I always go out there and I give everything I've got. And I think that's, but that I don't need to lead anybody here to do that. I think if you watch tonight's show, you saw a whole roster of people go out there and give it everything that they have. I wasn't able to watch all of the show, but everything that I saw, I don't know. It felt like a fantastic wrestling show, and maybe one of the best shows of all time. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide. I don't know for sure, but from what I saw, it sure seemed like it. So it doesn't, like, as far as in the ring, we have plenty of leaders in the ring, and if you want to come to AEW and you really want to stand out, like Ricochet wants to come here, he wants to stand out, right? It's a high bar. It's a high bar. So you got to step your game up.
Hi, Brian. Steve Herman from the BBC. I spoke to you this time last week about your early days at Butlins in Bognor Regis in front of 45 people.
How far am I from Bognor right now? Is there any chance I could take a train to? I bet there's a show in the Skyline tomorrow night in Bognor Regis. I'm sure I could get booked.
I'm sure they'll book you, definitely. Just wondered, going from that and those memories to did you give yourself any moment tonight to soak in what was going on around you, the tens of thousands of people chanting for you, and the moment of winning? Did you give yourself a moment to soak it in?
Yeah. So that's one of the things I've actually become really good at. And one of the things that my forced retirement, there's positives and negatives to everything, right? One of the real positives of my forced retirement before is that since I've come back, I feel like I've been able to not just enjoy all these moments, but really like savor them. Like when I go out there, I feel them and I can lock it in. And even just talking about it with you right now, I'm getting goosebumps. And it's, and one of the joys I think of this specific night is, I almost don't want it to end because of this, right? Like, I looked over multiple times during the match and looked at her, looked at my son, looked at my wife, and almost started crying. There was one point when there was a lot of ketchup that I saw her kind of crying in the second row. They were in the front row, and she moved back to the second row, and she was crying. Meanwhile, our son was laughing, and I was just saying thank you to whatever's out there in the universe that's gifted me this life, because it just seems like magic, right? So yeah, it's beautiful.
Guys, we'll take 2 more questions and we'll let Brian go back to celebrate with his family.
Keith Elliott Greenberg with Inside the Ropes magazine. In keeping with the theme of your early days in the industry, did you ever imagine when you chose the theme music, the final countdown, how poignant those words would be in the Bryan Danielson championship era?
No, honestly, I chose it as a joke. I was going to Japan a lot, and I would pick up music magazines at the airport, and they used to have all these lists of best songs or whatever. Well, they had the 100 worst songs of all time. I think number 1 was Final Countdown, and I was going through them, and I hate to say this, illegally downloading them on Napster, and then.
We all did it.
And just like, oh, I love this song. I haven't heard this song in years, or whatever it is. And then yeah, Final Countdown was, if it wasn't number 1, it was top 10. And I was like, oh, this would be awesome entrance music. And I never once, I do a lot of things to entertain myself. I never once thought it would catch on in Ring of Honor, let alone that 20 years later, I would be doing it in front of 50,000+ people. So yeah, it's and with a whole 50,000 people singing along to the final countdown. I don't know if anybody's shown this to Europe. If you could, maybe they might bring down the price. it might get us a couple more buys.
Hopefully they'll give me a break. But
yeah,
we've locked in a great deal with Europe, and looking forward to more final countdown plays, I hope. But that is yet to be seen. But it's been very, very fortunate thing that they've been willing to work with us, because I think it's added, Keith, to your point and to what Brian said, so much to the presentation. It's one of the most iconic wrestling themes of all time, and one of my favorite moments ever in the business.
Okay, last one over here. Michael Martinez from Lucha Libre Online. Brian, what it means to be able to reach a point in your career when you can retire knowing that you did everything you wanted to do without limitations?
Yeah, I mean, it means it's such a difference between being forced to retire and choosing to retire. One of the things that was that is really cool about this moment. So my daughter and I were just out there in the hallway, and she goes, "Daddy, you're the best wrestler in the world." And I said, "Sweet girl, that's not entirely true. There's lots of great wrestlers, you know." She goes, "No, you're the best." And the idea, and I asked her, I said, "Well, then why is daddy stopping wrestling?" And she said, "Because you love me." And I want my kids to know that I could keep doing this for a much longer period of time at a very high level. But now it's time for me to go home and be with them. Like, that's sweet girl, I love you. And buddy, I love you and buddy and mama more than anything in the whole world, including wrestling in front of 50,000 people. So yeah, that's about it. Does anybody, I'm going to open up one more question. If anybody has a question for Birdie.
Brian, Dave, Birdie, I was actually thinking that I would ask you this question. How did you like the trip to London? And this is a trick question now. How would you like a trip to Australia?
Oh, she's a little shy. She said, "Can you speak louder into the microphone?"
Or Tokyo?
Yeah. She gently said to me, "I would like to." So, sweet girl, can you tell him what your favorite part about this trip to London has been so far? Or are you just shy?
You did a great job.
Okay.
You did so
You did a
good,
great job.
Birdie.
Fantastic.
So, Dave, it's great to see you. Thank you all for participating in this moment, and thank you guys for covering AEW, and I really appreciate it. And yeah, so Tony had to drag me kicking and screaming to this moment. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night.
Enjoy your night. Go to your family. Enjoy the night.
I'll give you a hug.
Yeah, bring it in. Good job, Birdie.
Good job.
Bye, Birdie.
I will hold you.
Whew, I almost started full sobbing several times during that.
It's the first time I have up here. But
Yeah.
but it's the first time I ever have.
Well, let's turn those tears into rage, shall we?
Well, I love it. Perfect time.
Guys, welcome our new AEW World Women's Champion, Mariah May. Welcome Congratulations on tonight. What a successful evening for you to be crowned our new women's champion.
Renee, I'm just going to save you the time. As you can see, I'm dressed for a funeral. And if I may, I'd like to read Toni Storm's eulogy. Can I? Okay. Toni Storm's career is dead. Today, August 25th, 2024, at 6:48 p.m., Toni Storm's career passed away in the middle of Wembley Stadium in a pile of blood, spit, and embarrassment. She died of natural causes because I am naturally better than her in every way. She is survived by her bumbling, bald butler, Ben Mankiewicz, and anyone who pretends to love old movies because they cannot deal with their own pathetic realities. There will be no funeral service. A donation can be made in her name at shopaew.com/Mariah May. Toni, thanks for everything, you stupid, washed up twat. May you rest in peace and rot in hell. In other news, a star was born today. Her name is the Glamour, Mariah May. She is your AEW Women's World Champion, and at the tender age of 26, she has the wrestling world by the balls. AEW is officially all about Mariah.
Mariah, can we take some questions?
Yeah, sure. Does anyone have any questions? No? He didn't know. Oh, that's great. I'm not answering them. Okay. Thank you, Toni.
She learned from the best, ladies and gentlemen. She learned from the best.
A lot of problematic people around here, Toni.
Oh, well, that was a lot like the scrums we had with her mentor. I guess we're in store for some of that.
You're right. I think this one will go better. Guys, please welcome the TBS champion, Mercedes Mone.
A professional. Congratulations.
Everybody for showing up. And Renee, I'm not just the TBS champion, I'm the New Japan Strong Women's champion as well.
Sorry,
which
my
I
bad,
am
my bad.
defending this Friday in DC. Thank you so much for promoting my match.
Capital Collision
Ugh.
coming up Friday in
Tony?
DC. I know what's going on.
Thank you.
Beautiful hat. Mercedes, congratulations. Where would you rank this battle with Britt Baker? You've been in the ring with so many different incredible athletes. Where does Britt fall for you? What you guys did tonight?
I feel like she's number one when it comes to being my biggest fan. So she just rates there. But today I had to get my grandest entrance of them all, my dream entrance. And as you can see, I am the queen of London now. Did everybody see my cute corgis? They are related to the queen. All girls, Renee. And if anybody knows me, I have all boy corgis. So we're going to mate up, and become cousins of the queen. I'm going to start mating corgis everywhere. It's going to be amazing.
Okay. That's like hard to picture. Let's take some questions.
Scott Felstead, Muscle & Fitness, congratulations on your victory. Obviously, I could ask you who might be your next opponent, and you would say that nobody's worthy. So maybe you could give us a few comments about how you intend to carry your reigns as champion going forward. Are you going to be a fighting champion?
I mean, I've been a fighting champion this far since I've been in AEW since Big Business in March. I am defending my New Japan championship this Friday at Capital Collision. I defended my TBS championship. I walked in and walked out as champion. So of course I'm going to be a fighting champion whenever Toni needs me to be.
Thank
you. Mercedes, Gerald Bentley with Wrestling Spotlight. Is your role as the CEO, how much do you feel you've elevated the women's division in AEW?
I mean, I definitely helped put women's wrestling on the map, top to bottom, in every single company that I stepped in. Ever since I've joined AEW, the women's division has just been flourishing to a whole new heights, a whole new level. And I feel like the women here are, I'm sorry, the storylines are just way better than the men. As you saw before, Mariah May, our new champion. Her versus Tony this whole year has just been so captivating. And watching them really made me choose AEW because of this women's division. Like I've said many times, AEW is the place to be. Why? Because of the women here. So ever since I've been here, it just shows you that money changes everything. And we're going to keep on showing the whole world why we are the best at what we do.
Up next up here.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
It's a good question. Is that your question?
I'm doing very good.
Next.
Mercedes, you've had some terrible breakfast since you've been in the UK.
The worst.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Are we still, as a country, are we still seen as the Americans as being people incapable of providing good food?
I'm just going to have to say for breakfast, yes. But I don't know if it's Tony's hookup. The catering today, that was the best British food, if we're going to call it British food, I've ever had in my whole life. So thank you, Tony Khan. I finally ate good. But you guys, how you guys rank in the universe is definitely low because you guys have no seasoning, no flavor all the time. So we got to bring up the flavor up in the UK. Do you understand? That's why I'm here. Bring the hot sauce.
We'll take 2 more questions.
Hi, Mercedes. When you were in Cardiff the other day, you surprised a lot of people by turning up at Mark Andrews' school New Wave. I was just wondering how that experience was for you, considering how big a week it was. Was it quite nice to take a step back and have like new wrestlers just kind of learn and see what was going on that side?
Always when I'm in a new city, a new country, a new place, I love to be with the culture and the culture of wrestling. Mark Andrews is such a good friend of mine from many, many years. And he just opened his school legit 2 weeks ago. And he said, it's 10 minutes from the arena. It's 10 minutes from your hotel. And I'm like, I would love to step in the ring and actually get ready for Britt Baker. And walking into that school, just seeing the bright eyes of those young students was so amazing. And it just reminds me why I do this. I love this so much. I have such a passion, but to give back like that is incredible. If you're an aspiring professional wrestler in Cardiff, Wales, go to New Wave Pro Wrestling. Mark Andrews is absolutely one of the top best trainers and wrestlers in the world. It was amazing.
Last question.
Mercedes, Brian Zellum, PW Torch. A few weeks ago, you opened up about something serious that you were dealing with personally in your life.
Oh, God,
And,
what are you going to ask me?
well, I wanted to ask
I'm
you.
not going to date you, okay?
Well, I'm married 9 years, so thank you.
Oh,
though.
congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you. But I wanted to ask, so you opened up about something serious that you were dealing with personally in your
Mhm.
life. And I wanted to know, what did you learn from that experience? And specifically, what advice would you give to someone that may be going through a separation or divorce?
Why? Are you going to tell your wife something? You getting ready for something, brother? This is for anybody who's dealing with anything. Just follow your heart and know that you're guided. I went through a hard time, but I knew that I had to because I'm here. I fell down, I failed, I got back up, and I became a double champion. Whatever you want in life, you got to go out there and take, and don't be afraid. I had to take a chance. I had to follow my heart, and I had to listen to my soul. And I can't be afraid of those things. And I feel like people in life, you can't be afraid of listening to legit your heart and your soul. And listening to that led me here. And as you can see, I'm doing great. So just keep on following your heart and it will guide you. And you could be maybe a double champion like me and get many girls and many guys, whatever you want, you know? But congratulations on 9 years. It's a beautiful thing.
Congrats, Brian.
Yeah.
And I have a rhetorical question. So tonight, the UK, we've seen you conquer Japan, Canada,
yes,
going to Mexico, the US. We have to see. It's rhetorical. What's next for the CEO?
I mean, I saw a little announcement. Are we heading down under?
We are.
Oh.
We are. We'll be in Australia next year, Australia 2025. I'm very excited. AEW debuts next year in Australia. A lot of exciting things all over the world. And Tonight was one of the greatest nights, I think, in AEW's history
In
here
history.
in Wembley Stadium, and you were such a huge part of it, and we're very fortunate to have you here. We're very blessed to have Mercedes Mone, the
Thank you,
CEO,
Tony.
here in AEW.
And AEW is going global, so let's go. Money changes everything. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We did it. Thank you. Congrats.
See, we changed the mood.
did it.
We're moving
We've
on.
turned it up.
Dude, the Australia thing. Oh my God.
We did
How
it.
exciting.
So huge.
I'm sure we'll be talking about that momentarily.
It's
We
so
just have
huge.
Tony here. But moving things along here, let's bring in the FTW champion, Hook.
Yeah. Hey, let's go.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Hi.
Let's go, Hook.
Hook, congratulations. You are the first ever 3-time FTW champion. You overcame a ton tonight against Chris Jericho and his lackeys, his minions, however we want to look at that. What did it mean to you tonight to get that championship back?
I mean, it feels proper that this championship's coming home to New York. I just feel like everything's the way it's meant to be now.
All right, let's open up the floor to the media.
Yes, Hook. John Mahon from Kerrang Radio. When you made your entrance tonight, your old man's music hit just at the start, that Taz heartbeat, and that was almost like an Easter egg of what was to come. Was that your pre-planning, or was that a conversation between you and old man? Like, what was the backstory behind that moment?
That was actually entirely my idea. I don't know. It just kind of came to me. I was trying to think of something, and that's what I thought of.
Hey, Hook. Congratulations tonight, Dom Smith from WrestleSphere. Obviously, your dad has quite the legacy, which we saw a little bit of tonight. After tonight and going forward, what would you like your legacy to be? What do you see as that?
Was the question like, what do I see moving forward?
For your own legacy, yeah.
Just more success. Just continue to chip away, and yeah, just more success.
Hi, Hook. Sam, also from WrestleSphere. I've got to ask, so the FTW Championship was brought in as a bit of a joke, as a bit of an insult back in the ECW days, and to AEW a few years ago during the pandemic.
It wasn't brought in as a joke or an insult. I brought it in as a really important part of the company. It wasn't supposed to be a joke or an insult.
Oh, I say
at all.
apologies, Tony. I thought it was brought in by Taz. But I was going to say, is it now? Because it was a
It wasn't. He didn't bring it in as a joke or an insult at all,
Oh,
though.
fair
He
enough.
brought it in to represent somebody who was the top pushed heel against the strongest booked, best wrestler in the world at the time, which was John Moxley. And then John Moxley's top challenger was Brian Cage. And Brian Cage came in as the FTW champion and said, I'm the FTW champion. And then we built up to Brian Cage. Brian Cage won the casino ladder match, and he was that FTW champion. He beat a lot of the top stars at Double or Nothing 2020 to build up to a match with John Moxley in the summer of 2020. It was a big deal. And Brian Cage was one of the top heels in the company when the FTW title came in. Brian Cage, still a great star. Great to have him here tonight. The title's been passed through a number of different wrestlers, and it's on one of our top stars in Hook. But the title was never meant to be a joke or anything. And I know Taz and myself or nobody in AEW ever intended that.
Oh, of course. I
Sure.
didn't mean it in that way. What I was suggesting is,
Sure.
is it now officially a proper AEW championship along with all the others?
It's not a recognized, I mean, it is a championship in AEW that we care about. It has a lineage that predates what we do here. It's an important, I think, significant thing in wrestling. And I don't want to speak for Hook about the championship, but even before Hook was an active wrestler, it's been an important part of AEW. Hook's a really important part of what we do here now. And, you know, I think it was important for him to get it back for his family legacy. And please say your piece on it. I have some thoughts, but I had to say that. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't know. One little thing you might find interesting is I was actually the person who flew the FTW title down to Jacksonville for it to be used way before I was on screen or even working. That was the first time I met Tony.
Yeah.
And that's just a pretty cool little thing.
Yeah, exactly. It was meant as a tribute. It was an homage, and it's because I'm a big fan. I grew up as a big fan of Taz, of hardcore wrestling. I went to ECW when I was a kid, and you know, when we did Grand Slam in 2021, 3 years ago, my father was here for the show tonight, which was really cool. And my father was at the first Grand Slam, and Hook was coming up and getting, you know, becoming a bigger part of what we were doing in AEW. This was about a year after he had brought in the AEW, the FTW championship to AEW. And I remember my dad walking up to Hook and Taz in Arthur Ashe Stadium and saying to Hook, man, I got to tell you something. Your dad is a tough guy, because I took Tony to the ECW arena when he was a kid, and that is a war zone. That is the most god-awful place I ever went in my life. And your dad's a tough guy to wrestle in that place. I can tell you that. And, you know, there was a lot of family moments on the show tonight, and it was really cool because early in the show, we got to see the Jarretts and the Harts, and we saw the Von Erichs and the Rhodes, and so many great families throughout the world of pro wrestling. Here in UK, we had the Knights, and we had so many great moments, and then the Danielson family here. But one of the real big moments, certainly one of the biggest reactions, and one of the favorite moments for me personally, was seeing the embrace in that great moment with Taz and how the crowd reacted to Hook and Taz together. And they're a great family, and they're a big part of AEW.
Last question for Hook.
Jamal Niaz here for Seconds Out. Hook, your rise with AEW has been absolutely incredible given your age, and winning against a legend like Chris Jericho at Wembley Stadium, no doubt a career highlight. Do you have a targeted timeline in mind when you want to become AEW World Champion? Because no doubt that's in your sights. You're one of the future stars of the company for sure.
The sooner the better.
Let's go.
Short and sweet. I like it. Hook, congratulations on tonight. Go enjoy London.
Let's do it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. See you soon.
All right, everybody, let's keep this train moving along. Keep the energy up, because joining us now, the new international champion, Will Ospreay. Hey.
You're right.
Yeah, you? You all right?
He did it.
You did it. Get situated, sit on down, feel good.
I chicken pie. Do you want me here instead?
You want?
No, I want to.
No, it's a buffer. It's a buffer zone. If we were watching a movie together, we'd say, like, you know, buffer.
Yeah, a little bit, man. It's all good.
Will,
I like being
congrats.
next to my boss.
Well, congratulations on tonight. What an incredible moment, from the moment that you stepped out onto the stage, into the ring, to everything that happened within that ring. But what does it feel like now to have the international championship back in your hands?
Feels right. Feels very good. And just like, I can't imagine like telling my 14-year-old self, okay, so when you're 31, right, you're going to wrestle in Wembley Stadium, and there's going to be about 50,000 people in there, and you're going to come out being inducted into the Assassin's Creed, and Ezio's going to do it for you. You're going to have the sickest entrance ever, and your mum's going to be out there, and they're all going to be cheering her surname. Like, oh, I don't believe you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, honestly, it's been wild. And like, now that this is back, it's time to remind people what this international title was about. And it's about taking on the best challengers and putting on the best matches. And the best wrestlers are going to be doing so.
I have a million questions for you, but I'm going to open up to these lovely people and let them have at it.
Go on, open up.
Well, Brian Zellum, PW Torch. Within the last year, you've mentioned how important family is to you, being a husband, being a father. How did both of those things prepare you for this moment this evening?
Preparing them is just it's been real good to have a support system. And like 2 minutes before I was about to go out there, somebody brought my missus down just to give me the biggest hug, and just, you know, those moments just unnerve me. It just like everything just feels right now, and it felt like the right time, the right place, and just their love and support and their energy that they've given me throughout this journey. And just like, man, those two, like her kid and that girl, has completely turned my life around, and I'll never be able to thank them for it. And just the motivation to just push me past that finish line was all there.
Well, massive congratulations. Like you mentioned, you've come so far since I remember those WCPW days when you
Oh,
were wrestling
yes, mate.
Ricochet, and now you and Ricochet are in the same organization, which is absolutely incredible. Everyone wants to see that dream match.
I
Could we
mean, look,
see it?
yeah, dude, so do I. I mean, man's got to work for it, though. Like, do you know what I mean? There's a long list of people that he's going to have to beat before he can call out the international champion. But honestly, mate, I think it's been 8 years since that Best of Super Juniors match, and we've both gone in our separate directions. We've both done well, but like now he's under this microscope, and maybe, just maybe, I just called him out all those times just to see if he's got any bollocks, and he's shown up, right? He's shown up, so I'd like to see what he's going to be doing here in AEW. I'm excited, and I'm really, really happy for him.
He's a pretty good friend of yours.
Pretty good. I mean, he's all right. I don't mind him. Fucking stop me pricking, eh? I love him.
I stole my question, but
Meltzer's in! Yes! Oh, look at you. How you feeling? You good?
Good. How are you?
Mate, I'm doing dandy. Uncle Meltzer's over here. What we got?
Was that your question, Dave?
Yeah, it was how I'm doing. All right, thanks, Dave.
So as far as like what are your goals now for the championship? And I was going to ask, like, what the Ricochet match, the Special Super Juniors match, how do you feel that changed the trajectory of your career?
Excitement for the championship, just because there is like so many challenges that I could easily do, and once again, this championship knows no borders. It can be defended anywhere, so I am open and I'm willing to travel wherever our partnerships lie and test myself against the best wrestlers in the world. And about the trajectory of the Ricochet match that happened, mate, it put me under a microscope that I don't think I was ready for, because like as a 23 back then? I think I was like 20. Yeah, I was 23 back then, and it was the first time I was a part of like a real wrestling company. Do you know what I mean? I was just grafting away at the indies, and not that like the indies aren't real companies, but there's so much to it. There's like the promotional side of things, and then when that blew up, and then I had like it was the Marmite of pro wrestling, right? It was just like you either loved it or you hated it, and for me, it was just a case of like, this is a learning experience for me. It's to take all this on board, like all this criticism, all this love. Here's where I could have done better. Here's where I could have gone worse. Taking all that on board and then learning from other people. Like the one thing I'll always say, right, is the Ricochet match done wonders for me, right? But that was just what we would do in PWG. That was what we would do in Rev Pro. And then when it was just kind of like along the lines of, I done that, and then they just went, all right, get in the ring with Shibata. And I was like, oh, flipping hell. You're going to beat the piss out of me. And like, it's taking that match, then wrestling Shibata and taking that match, then wrestling Okada and taking that match, then wrestling Kenny and taking that match, to wrestling Takeshita and taking that match, to wrestling Danielson to taking that match, and then taking Max. I'm constantly evolving. And that beginning step, I'll never forget those days when I wrestled Ricochet, and my life kind of just changed from there.
Hi, Will. First of all, congratulations. I'm Jorge Cervera with Lucha Libre Online. So MJF, when he was the champion, he comes over here to London and then to Mexico City. And I saw you on Twitter, well, X, that you are interested too to go to Mexico. So right now that you are the champion, it's possible to see you like giving the same opportunity as MJF to the Mexican luchadors?
Honestly, I've been thinking about it a lot, right? I have stayed away from Mexico just because it's a fear. I am generally like, oh God, I don't think I would last there. I'm not going to lie. But then everybody has come back with glowing reviews. Like all of my friends that have gone over there, like Michael Oku told me he had the best time of his life. Zach told me that it was the best time. So like, it's getting to the point now. And then I saw that tweet and it was like, there's only like, I think it's like Moxley, Danielson, pardon? The Earthquaker, right? There's 3 guys that have ever done Tokyo Dome, Madison Square Garden, and Arena Mexico.
Moxley, Danielson, and Earthquake? Oh,
Jericho.
Earthquake. Sorry.
I've always said.
I heard Earthquake.
I heard Earthquake.
I was like, did Earthquake do the Arena
I
Mexico?
heard Earthquake.
Yeah, I heard
right?
Earthquake. You said sorry. No, I just It
Is that right though?
No, he said Jericho. Moxley, Jericho, Danielson.
No, and Earthquake. Earthquake did it as well.
Earthquake. Oh, I
Yeah,
did hear you
dude,
right.
Earthquake did it.
Earthquake did it.
Fucking like, what's your,
Earthquake.
oi,
No.
what's
Give it up
your
to
fucking
Tenta.
problem with Earthquake? What's your problem with Earthquake? So it's,
No, I grew up. Well, to be honest, he was like when I was growing up. He was one of the when I was a kid. I watched him. The first show I ever went to, where you will be. That's a very good segue. My problem with Earthquake is when I was 8 years old as a little boy. The first wrestling show I ever went to. It'll be the arena we go to this Wednesday in Champaign, Illinois. I get to show you the hometown
really?
where I first grew up watching wrestling as a little boy. The first wrestling show my dad ever took me to. I watched Earthquake's kill a snake, squash a snake. And so he's a bad guy, and that's why and that was the first show I ever.
Tony, be honest with me. Do you suffer any trauma? Like, is there any moments where you flash back and just go, "That man"?
He ate
killed
snake burgers, man. It was not good. But yeah, no.
But like, yeah, it's Wembley Stadium, Tokyo Dome, Madison Square Garden, and Arena Mexico. The only one I haven't done is Arena Mexico, and everyone's been saying high things about it. So I think it's time for me to pop on over.
Yeah, let's go. I love that. I love that. I love that.
Hi, Will.
How's that,
Connor
Captain?
Devlin
You good?
from. I'm not too bad now, thank you. Westmead Examiner here. Just wanted to say your entrance. It was quite a spectacle. Assassin's Creed themed, obviously. I just wanted to know how that came together with you and even Ubisoft, if they were involved.
Yeah, so my mate Farbon is just sitting over there, right? He's the ultimate link-up artist, mate. I just put the microphone in my mouth. I went, oh. Bit weird. But he's the ultimate link-up man. And for Wrestle Kingdom, we was able to do like the Jack the Ripper one from Assassin's Creed Syndicate was able to link me up with Ubisoft, and it done a great number on them for social media and like promoting wise. And that wasn't like the current game that they had. It was Mirage at that time. And then it got back to Ubisoft, and they were like, dude, like, we've got Shadows coming up, which the concept with Shadows is going to be in Japan this time round. And I spent 8 years of my life growing up in Japan. And Assassin's Creed is generally, I can't make this up. When I was growing up, when I was training, they were like, attach yourself to something that fans can attach themselves to, right? And I loved Assassin's Creed. All my friends loved Assassin's Creed. So I made it my gimmick, the aerial assassin. So in a weird way, it paved the way for me so that I can grow and do all this. And then when it was able to link together, it was just like the perfect scenario. So like, honestly, thank you so much, Ubisoft. Thank you, Assassin's Creed. Thanks to all the break dancers and the gymnasts as well that were doing all the tricks for me as well, because Mansur as well just created one of my favorite moments of my entire life. Just I'm a legit assassin now, man. Like, I'm actually a part of the games. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there isn't a limit to this anymore. Like, we could even do like a toy. We could actually do like an action figure of the Assassin's Creed stuff. Honestly, I'd love to be like a downloadable character as well. Like, honestly, there isn't any limits anymore with this. Maybe even my own game.
There we go.
Assassin's Creed, Billy.
We'll take 2 more questions for Will.
Hi, Will. Harry Taylor from The Times. I think sitting in front of us, we can see one of the most authentic people in wrestling. I mean, Dynamite on Wednesday, I never thought I'd hear the word "Sill It Bang" on a promo for an American wrestling company. And I don't know, Tony, if you want to chip in as well. How easy has it been, or how hard has it been sometimes to stay true to yourself and to be yourself on, on and off, in and out of the ring, and to be Will Ospreay? Because I think, what you see in front of us is what you get. This is probably what you like.
Yeah,
outside
honestly,
the ring.
mate, like, I can only apologize. I'm a bit of a knobhead sometimes. I can't turn it off. Like, it's just one of those things where I am who I am now. And like, I do have a little bit of a naughty side, but I am who I am and I can't change it. But like, yeah, man, I just wanted to, there's so much going on in our country right now that really scares me. And I am just a little bit like, oh God, I hope everyone's okay. So I just wanted to bring a bit of joy. So the moment I was just thinking, oh, I've got to clean up your mess. And I was thinking in my head, I was like, what? Like, there has to be something to this. And then I just thought of Barry Scott. And I just was like, I wonder if they'll know. And when they all said it, I was, oh, mate, this UK crowd, honestly. All right, next year we're obviously doing like Forbidden Door, right, in London, 2025. Is it the same day, 25th of August? Right?
Yeah,
24th,
right? Yeah, bank holiday, yeah.
There is no reason, right? After seeing that Cardiff, we should just do a tour in the UK. Just because there is just mate, we could easily hit Glasgow. We could do Belfast. We could do Manchester. We could do Birmingham. We could do Cardiff again. We could do London. Like, honestly, oh, Yanks, we just showed you up. That's how you do a crowd. Do you know what I mean? We just done it. So, like, I really want to do, like, there's no reason why we couldn't do, like, a big tour leading up to Forbidden Door just because we smashed it, eh? The Brits are just great. They're the best wrestling fans, and I just, happy boy.
That's awesome.
One last question for Will.
That's good advice.
Can I have a tour?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
2-month tour.
How novel. It's a great idea.
Hi, Will. I'm from the Romford Recorder, your local paper.
Yes, son!
Get in, boy.
How are you?
I'm okay, bro. Yourself?
Mate, I'm doing well, boss. Now that you're here, especially.
Explain, you know, a local lad winning a major title in front of all your local fans. Please explain what it feels like.
So I'm going to tell you this. This is honestly, this makes me so happy. When I was 14 years old, right, and my mum got me like this wrestling ring to keep me off the streets, we then discussed about doing our own show. We were like, we're good enough. Us backyarders, we're good enough to do our own show. So my mum helped me put on like a wrestling show in this, like in the Royals Youth Centre. And we were like, how are we going to get people through the door? I know. The Romford Recorder, and you guys actually publicized my first ever professional, well, not professional, backyarders, but my first ever wrestling match, like ever. Like there's photos of me in the paper and everything. There was a geezer actually that his parents didn't want him doing any more wrestling. And because he wasn't allowed to do wrestling, he weren't meant to be on the show, but we didn't tell his parents he was on the show. It was the front fucking page of the so his parents like fucking fuming. But, like, dude, from 14 years old to wrestling opposite of Tesco was mind-blowing. Now this journey, I've wrestled opposite of Tesco. I've then wrestled in a resistance gallery. I've wrestled in the Electric Ballroom. I've gone over to York Hall. I went over to Japan and done a Tokyo Dome and a sumo arena. I've wrestled in Madison Square Garden. And now, like, I've just wrestled for the second time in my life, which is a flipping crazy sentence to say, Wembley Stadium. I'm amongst the elite, mate.
I'll make sure I get this in the back page of the Romford Recorder. Okay?
Yeah, oh, good. Could put like some naughty pictures on the other side as well. Like, gotta be like one of those like page 3 boys. Like, do you know what I mean? I've got the modeling type for it.
2026. Make sure you put him top of the bill, mate.
Oh, well, you know, it's a long way away, but we have to see what happens. The style this man wrestles, it's very dangerous to plan with him in 2026. But
I might get shit as well. Like, do you know what I mean? If you look at me and just be like, he's not what he used to be. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, fuck it. I've got loads in the tank.
I think you're doing very well. I think you're doing very well. Congratulations.
Thank
What a
you,
night.
Will.
Thank you. Thank you, Will.
Thank you so much. Oh, see you later, Renee. Oh, now I'm gonna go home.
Bye bye.
My baby and the wife.
Let's go, man.
Tony, what an incredible night for you, for AEW here at Wembley Stadium. I mean, we saw tons of returns tonight. We had plenty of announcements happen tonight. How are you feeling?
Fantastic. I feel absolutely fantastic. I thought, like I was saying, when Hook was up here, that this was probably the most families in pro wrestling I've ever seen on one show.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a theme of the show, but in a really cool way. They were different moments, different families from different parts of history, culminating in, I thought, one of the greatest family moments ever in the sport. And it was really beautiful. And it was an art, you know, from the great interview you did with Brie ahead of the show that we showed today, and to see Brie and Birdie and Buddy all at ringside, getting to see Brian win the championship and have that family moment. And also, you know, to see Brian come in here and to have that with Birdie, that is pretty great. So this is one of my favorite weekends ever in the wrestling business. And Will Ospreay, what he did for the company this past week in Cardiff and tonight, and the match Will Ospreay and MJF had was absolutely fantastic. I agree with everything Brian said. Swerve has just been such a great AEW World Champion, and you need a great champion and a great challenger to have a great title match. In this case, it was a great title versus career match with a great champion and a great career. And I thought it was
one of our most special main events. And there's a lot of really exciting things happening in AEW. And it's now very fitting to go from a hometown of mine here in London to the place I was born this week. And
The party at your house, yeah?
yeah, come over.
Perfect.
And we'll have everyone over, and we'll have a big party, and it's going to be a great time. And also, we're going to go, like I said, this Wednesday to the arena where I saw my first ever wrestling match, and we'll have some big moments. Brian's going to have some time here to think about his future and what he's going to do next. But it was great to have Brian claim the world championship in the main event and have that moment with his family tonight in Wembley Stadium. And we're all really looking forward to Wednesday Night Dynamite. I think there's so many things happening in AEW that we can all get behind, but really tonight just felt like a real feel-good show in so many ways.
Agreed very much. Guys, any questions for Tony?
Hi, Tony. Morgan Richards here from Sapman Podcast. As a proud Welshman, two things I wanted to say was I love the fact that Dynamite was in Cardiff for the first time outside of North America. And secondly, I hope Harry Wilson has a great season for Fulham.
He's off to a good start.
But my question is, as a booker, how do you deal with something when the UK crowd decide that Big Bill is the most favorite wrestler of all time now?
That's a great question. I mean, I think it's, very consistent with what we've seen with Big Bill, that Big Bill has all the skills. He's been a champion in AEW, and he's with Chris Jericho as a mentor. He's facing another really popular star in Hook. We saw it. We got great reactions for Hook. What a great moment it was when Hook won and had that celebration with Taz, and how the crowd came up when Taz got involved in the match and left the commentary table tonight. But Big Bill has done a fantastic stuff here in AEW. I think you have to look at what's happening in the learning tree. And I think with Big Bill, he's got all the potential in the world. Chris Jericho is one of the smartest wrestlers of all time. He definitely sees it in Big Bill also. And I think it's something to watch, like where it goes. But I think it does definitely play into what we see on television, that this is a super talented guy that's with a wrestler that, is not necessarily the most popular with the fans, but somebody who's really smart. He recruited Brian Keith and Big Bill for a good reason. So I was excited to see that reaction to Big Bill because, we really like Big Bill here and somebody we think very highly of. So I thought that was awesome and definitely something you can lean into. And really, that's what wrestling's about. In football, if you're planning to run the ball and you would call it a run play and the entire defense comes and stacks up, like it's, a lot of times in football, people have another play called in that case and call it audible. And I think a lot of times in wrestling, there are times where you see something and you get the opportunity because you see the fans react a certain way. So depends on the situation, but I think it was great to get that reaction. And, the fan reactions in this case, the great thing about pro wrestling is it's not like a defense necessarily. It's like you're all together, the flow, the fans, like we're all, in harmony with each other in a way. Yet wrestling is chaos, and that's the great balance of wrestling. I think it was really cool to see that reaction from the crowd. And what's really interesting in wrestling is when a crowd can show you how they feel and express themselves like that, other crowds will often do similar things. So I wouldn't be surprised if Big Bill gets a lot of great reactions. Thanks for asking. And also, it was great to do the show in Cardiff. I don't know if everyone picked up on the verbal trick I had done all year, but I had said, and I promised, and I told the truth, that the only AEW show all year in England would be All In. And then, of course, we did go to Wales. And so I kept my promise, but I thought it was a great way to have AEW All In be a very special thing, our only show this year in England, but also debut Dynamite and Collision in the UK very successfully and have a great AEW debut in Wales. Thank you for saying that, and come on, Fulham. Thanks.
Hi, Tony. Stephanie Chase. Tonight we saw the return of Daniel Garcia during the MJF Ospreay match. There's been a lot of talk and speculation about him recently. Reportedly, his contract's up in October. Has he re-signed, signed an extension? Is he negotiating? What's going on?
Well, I don't want to necessarily comment on everybody's contract length or status, but Daniel's here and he's a great part of AEW. We've been having great success, and this is a great night to reflect back on what we've been doing here in AEW. And for some reason we keep going back to this number of like the past 3 years, but at Revolution we talked about the 3-year run of Sting and what a special 3-year run it was with Sting in AEW from 2021 Revolution to Revolution 24. Bryan Danielson at All Out 21 he debuted, and we're coming up on 3 years of Bryan Danielson in AEW, and again a really special moment in that 3 years. Well, it's been about 3 years with Daniel here, and Daniel Garcia started with us in Daly's Place, and he was kind of on that run of shows right before we went back and started wrestling in front of the crowds again. So he's somebody who's been with us a really long time. He's somebody beloved by the fans and backstage, and we love having Daniel here. So without saying exactly what's going on, it's it's a good sign that he was here, I think, and really great to have him come and take that next step tonight after what happened with him and MJF and Will Ospreay being involved in the international title. It was a great payoff to a lot of storytelling in the recent weeks on Dynamite, and I think we're on a really great run of Dynamites. People thought this go-home show was probably our best go-home show we've done and one of the best shows, and really it feels like that's been consistent. Coming out of Forbidden Door, I felt like the show we did, Beach Break in Chicago, was one of our best, and it was when Garcia had gotten taken out, right back then, leading into that MJF Will Ospreay 59-minute and 58.5-second international title match, setting up tonight's rematch. But Daniel Garcia has been a big part of AEW for a long time. We love having him here. Thanks for asking.
Emily May with Wrestling News Co. We saw Zack Sabre Jr., the G1 Climax winner, come out tonight. We also saw the huge New Japan AEW Forbidden Door will be here in London next year.
Yes.
So how did this all come about, and how are you working with your partners to create, a year from now, incredible potential matches and storylines?
Well, there's a lot of interesting things. We saw, for example, the G1 winner, Zack Sabre Jr., here tonight, who's a great star in the UK. I first met him here in the UK many years ago. He's a top star in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It'd be very interesting to come back here for Forbidden Door 1 year from now, back in London. And we have huge opportunities, of course, after doing 2 years of great all-in shows here at Wembley Stadium in London. We're flipping things around. We've traditionally done Forbidden Door around North America, bringing Forbidden Door to another one of the great pro wrestling cities in the world, which is kind of a great tradition we built now, doing the first 4 Forbidden Doors officially in Chicago, of course, Toronto, New York, and now London. Those are 4 of the real marquee cities in pro wrestling. And I think it's kind of a cool thing we're doing next year, bringing Forbidden Door here in August and then taking All In to Texas in July. I think they'll both be very successful shows. And Mr. Ospreay is also a very intelligent pro wrestler, has a great wrestling mind. And in this case, I think we think alike. It'd make a lot of sense to do more shows here next year. I think we have great fans, and Will made a great point.
Hey, Tony. John Mahon from Kerrang Radio. And rock music played a massive part in the show this evening. You had Brian coming out to one of the worst songs of all time, Europe's Final Countdown. Hey, not my words. He found it on a list of the 100 worst rock songs of all time. And Sting coming out to Metallica, Seek and Destroy. How important has not just rock music, but music in general been to creating not just the brand of AEW, but the characters within AEW?
Absolutely. Those are great examples. I think Pixies for Orange Cassidy is a great one. And when Jefferson Starship last year with Jane, and we played them both in Wembley Stadium. A lot of great rock tracks and rock musicians in wrestling and around wrestling. I think it's a big part of it, but there's also other music genres that are a big part of wrestling. Obviously with hip hop, we saw hip hop entrances, in particular Swerve's entrance tonight. I thought they were great and did a great job. But yeah, rock music is a huge part of the pro wrestling business as well. And it's something I really like. And I think we've been able to bring a lot of cool music into the show. Even in addition to some of those licensed songs that have come in more recently over the years, even from the very beginning, I think Darby had a very recognizable song, with Wicca Springs. And then, Chris Jericho's Fozzy song has been one of the original AEW themes people still remember, and before he became the Learning Tree. And there's, I think, a lot of great themes and a lot of great songs, but certainly Sting Metallica, Seek and Destroy, anytime Sting's involved, that's going to be a huge moment. And Final Countdown to me, for a long time, going back to like last year, I've known Final Countdown was going to be a huge part of the presentation and what we do, and would make this moment go to another level. So when you can secure the rights to a song, no matter what people think of it, it's whether it's the best song or not, I think it's a great song, and the crowd loves it, and it's become so associated with Brian. So I only have positive things to say about Europe and their great song, Final Countdown. I think they're a great band, and they've been a great part of AEW, and it was one of the most special moments of my life. So I got to, put over Europe, and they did a great job for us. Thanks, man.
I have a question. Is there a story with Machine Head?
Yeah.
What's the story with that?
Well, we're going Wednesday to Champaign, Illinois, and I love the song Machine Head. And the first concert I ever went to, it'll be in the building we're in Wednesday. We were there. We did the 10th episode of Dynamite there. So John and Chris Jericho and a lot of the original AEW stars in 2019 were there. It was our very first year, like I said, the 10th ever episode. And I think this will be episode 256, I think. And so to go back, almost 5 years later, it's a big deal. But the first concert I ever went to without my parents was Bush, and they opened with Machine Head.
Was it Veruca Salt opening for them?
It was No Doubt, and it was
No Doubt with that?
Yeah. And it was also, I think it was a big moment in there. I think it was a big period in their lives.
Yeah.
I think that's when the stuff started going down.
Sorry to deviate there. I just wanted to know I'm also a huge Bush fan.
I am a huge Bush fan, and 16 Stone, was a great album, and that was the song they opened with the first concert I ever went to. So I thought that is part of the deal. And it was a great song last year. And a lot of times with wrestling shows, they change the marquee theme every year. And I thought it'd be cool. We're going back to Wembley Stadium, and it just feels like all in season when you hear Machine Head. So
yeah,
I just thought it was cool.
Just know that Oasis got back together today, so we should all be grateful for that.
Yeah, that was great. They've been great too. And how about Nigel?
Yes.
Speaking of moments,
yes,
that was
Nigel
great
McGuinness,
point.
incredible.
Yeah, man.
All right, who do we got?
Hi, Tony. Thank you very much again. Mark O'Brien from Irish Wrestling Entertainment. In July, the state of Ohio announced 1.275 million tax credits to AEW as part of their motion picture tax credit agreements. Much like your Arlington agreement, that residency program that led to the all-in announcement. Is there anything along those lines to be expected for the Cleveland, Ohio area?
So pardon. What about much like the Arlington? You said what about much like the Arlington
leading
residency?
to all in Texas? Is there anything in the pipeline for the Cleveland area, Ohio, following the tax credit?
I would love to do more things in Ohio, Renee. You can see,
Me
Renee,
too.
a lot of great things have come out of Ohio. We would save some travel costs on some of the top people for sure. I think I would like to do more things in Ohio. It's a great wrestling market. We've done some things there over the years. We've had a lot of great TV, a lot of great events, House Rules. It's an incredible wrestling market. Every time we go there, I feel like the fans are fantastic. We did one of our first house shows we ever did was there, and some of our best TV shows are there. And in particular, probably the biggest star in the history of the company, John, is from Ohio. And I think, there's a lot of positives there. Also, some of the hottest fans in wrestling. When we go to Ohio, we've had so many great shows there over the years around different cities: Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton's a great one coming up. That's a great one. And, even when we've gone across the border to Kentucky, across from Cincinnati. But yeah, there's a lot of great markets there. We did Troy, Ohio. That was a good one.
Right.
Is there anything you guys want? Tax credit? Yeah, that's good. But I think I can't comment on the status of the tax credit. We love doing stuff in Ohio. We do have some shows on the books, obviously, that are known coming up soon in Ohio for you fans. And, we love being there.
We'll do 2 more questions for Tony.
Hi, Tony. Neil Flanagan from Post Wrestling. I wanted to ask you something about the creative process in AEW. And I know that you're not going to pull the curtain back altogether on this, but sure. I'm going to ask anyway. I think one of the common themes of All In 2024 has been, it's been better received, I believe, in the build, the feud building, the storytelling. And I wonder, is there any kind of change in your outlook on this? I mean, in your media call on Thursday, you did mention the input that went into the Women's World title program, for example. And I think throughout the card, it was seen this year, possibly more so than last year. You're the co-owner, you're also the booker. You know, who else is involved in? Is it RJ? Is it Chris Daniels? Is it Jimmy Jacobs? You know, can you?
There's like 27 people involved in the process, and it's like a football team. When I go in and I'm at a football meeting where there's like a lot of people contributing ideas, and you have like a dozen coaches on offense and a dozen coaches on defense, and everybody puts something in. And at the end of the day, I have to decide. And I get pitched hundreds and hundreds of ideas a week, and I can do less than half of them. And some of them are great ideas that just don't make sense because you need somebody else had a better idea for us, or that we were already pretty far down the line with. And it's like a big map, and I get pitched hundreds of things. And then if I have to decide. So, but that's a lot like other sports. You know, this is a sport. And that's something I've been trying to like hammer into the people is like, when people tell me, I've said that a lot this weekend, people tell me they're going to try to do something. And I say, that wouldn't fly. And that doesn't fly because this is a sport. And like, if I was at Fulham and the captain of the team told me I'm going to try to do that for you, like, I've never heard that. And this is my 9th season as a sporting director. And not one person has ever told me that. This is my 13th season as a professional sports executive. And in other sports, nobody's ever told me I'm going to try to do something. Like, you're going to fucking do it. And like, like that's how it works. And like in other sports and in this sport, like that's the whole point of having a head coach. Like, and there's lots of ideas. And the cool part is we have like I said, there's probably 27, 30 people in any given week that will come in with different ideas, trying to contribute to different parts of the thing. And it's like in football, where you have your quarterback coach, your running back coach, your wide receivers coach, your tight ends coach, your offensive line coach, your assistant offensive line coach, your assistant offensive, different people that are focused in different areas. And so I've got some people that might work with other people more than others. So like, Jen would work with Mercedes, but she might work on promos with other people that she has a good rapport with. I've put together, like I said, I'd come up with ideas for RJ I'd come up with ideas for Tony and Mariah, and none of the coaches I had were really good for it because none of them understood what the fuck I was talking about. And everybody was looking at me like, all about even Sunset Boulevard. Like, what do you want me to do? So there was only one person in the back that even like knew the references. So like, that's how RJ got involved in the creative process, and he does a good job on things. Jimmy is really good because Jimmy's the only person that goes to every I go to every show. There's nobody else in the company besides Jimmy. Missed maybe like 2 shows in the last year, but like he probably has the best attendance record of certainly anybody in the back office and almost anybody in the entire company. So like, just to have a stenographer and like one person that's hearing everything people come in and say, Jimmy will contribute some ideas, but he gets way too much shit online because people think Jimmy's putting this in, that, and that. He's not putting a lot of stuff in. He's really good because he's like the guy that's there every week. He's not biased on anybody's stuff or towards any one person. He has done a lot of stuff with Chris over the years, but it's not like Jimmy is the one saying what we put in with Chris's stuff, because I deal with Chris every week. So then and so it's like a big thing. We have this really, really good group of people. But at the end of the day, it's like a football team, and like and then going into defense, and then it's like you have the other locker room, and you have like it's in one locker room, but it's 2 halftime. You're in one side or the other side, or in the special team specialists, and there's some people from each group that go over to those meetings too. So it's a lot like a sports team, but yet there's certainly elements of acting and entertainment and show business to it, and that's how, when I get asked, like yesterday in the dressing room at Fulham, when the players ask about the wrestling, and a lot of them were here, and Marco was here, which is really cool. Would have Marco Silva here. He's doing such a great job at Fulham, and I love working with him. And we're in our 4th year working together, and I think he's just so fantastic. And it's so great that he would bring his family to this. And so I really think that what we've got, it's pretty cool. There's a number of other people that do a great job on other things too, like video packages, tying things together. And also a lot of it is the coaches. So you mentioned like Chris Daniels, there's Sanjay Dutt, there's Pat Buck, in addition to the people I already mentioned. Sarah Stock does a great job as a coach, Jerry Lynn, and about 10 others. Also, because what's crazy is there's no off season. So it's 52 weeks a year. So like I said, it's a grind to make all the shows. I take a lot of pride in doing the Cal Ripken, and like in doing so, like I said, it's good to have like different people that are specialists, almost like in pro football or college football, where people focus on different things. I think this year it's helped because last year we had literally just launched Collision. I frankly think it's an easier environment backstage at Collision than it was a year ago to do things. I think it's a lot easier flow between the two shows than it was a year ago. I think the locker room is in a much better place than it was a year ago, as evidenced by like when we came up here versus what happened here a year ago. And I think it's much easier job I have dealing, because I had to deal with the people on Collision last year, and it's a much easier meeting process to put the TV together than it was a year ago at this time too, if that makes sense. Because we were obviously dealing with a lot of things going into Wembley last year, which obviously showed up. And but today was, I thought, the most spectacular day I've ever had. And I was saying to Brian, we don't know what Brian has to say Wednesday, and we don't know what's to come of this, but there's some uncertainty going into Brian's future, to say the least. And you have the AEW World Champion and somebody I personally, I care so much about. And you have two people in Brian and Sting. And I wouldn't have said it, but Brian said it right before he walked out, that I dragged him kicking and screaming to this point, because it was like with Sting, these are the two most unselfish people in the history of the sport, the two most selfless people. And in the same calendar year, to be able to sit here next to Sting retiring as an undefeated world champion after putting in the best 3-year run he could have possibly had to close out his career, and redefining Sting's legacy, somebody I grew up watching since I was a little boy. Before the first time I ever saw a wrestling match in person, I was watching Sting on TV on TBS. And to be able to put Sting on TBS and send him off the right way and make sure it was done right, and be here and sit with Sting right here in Derby, that was really cool. And then in the same year, to go from doing Greensboro, North Carolina, and having Sting set the gate record with Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat and all the great moments, that was so great. And to be able to bookend that with Bryan Danielson coming out to the final countdown with his family, with Bree, Birdie, and Buddy, and to have that moment, to be able to sit here in the scrum with Brian and Birdie. It's the first time I've ever cried in a wrestling scrum, and first time I think I've cried in wrestling, and to be able to do both these things in the same year. And with Sting, there was the certainty of what was to come. We knew that he went out on top, but it was the end. And with Brian, I've said this a little bit, but to paraphrase Andy Bernard, it's, for some reason, you never know you're in the good old days till they're almost over. And I don't know how much time's left. And I guess we'll find out maybe more on Wednesday from Brian. But it's really special to be able to come here to this place where I've had so many memories. Jaguars, we've been playing here since 2013. And how far everything's come. The Jaguars, 2013, the team compared to now, it was nothing compared to where we are now. And the Jaguars, things are going so well there. And to see how far the franchise has come, even here in London, our fan base, but really the football, to see how much better the football's gotten in that time. And then Fulham, to see how far we've come as an organization. And I've had so many great moments here, but since those moments, the team has climbed and climbed. To have Marco here tonight, that was special. And like I said, to be able to cap it off, to sit here, between Renee and Brian and Birdie, and to be able to look at that belt, watch Birdie fold the strap out while you guys were talking. I don't know if anybody saw that. Did we see Birdie fold the strap out? That was nice. That was really, really cool. And to watch Dave Meltzer ask Birdie a question, that was a perfect way to cap off this night. I would love to leave on a high note. Does anybody have one more?
What's a nice question?
Maybe have a nice, if you can promise me a nice one.
Emily's got a nice
Thank you.
question.
Emily May with Wrestling News Co. One of the most emotional moments for the crowd was when Nigel McGuinness came out. It was such a high moment. I saw tears around me, around the crowd. Everyone was living that moment. And I wanted to hear from you how that happened. When was that decision made? Will he be heading back to commentary, or are we seeing him in the ring more?
He will definitely be on commentary. He's going to continue. Nigel is a fantastic host on Collision, and he was a fantastic host early on tonight on this pay-per-view. He was doing a great job calling the show, and he's been an instrumental part of some of these stories. It was shocking to see his favorite wrestler, Christian Cage, put the spear on him and really steal the moment from him. After all the terrible things he said about Bryan Danielson and all the praise he's lavished on Christian Cage, I couldn't help but think about that. I'm really glad you asked it. You could have asked whatever you wanted. I was just kidding about a nice question. So I was glad. I was luck of the draw. I got a nice one. But if you'd asked me something hard, that would have been okay too. But that is a great question. And so Nigel is one of the best wrestlers ever. I grew up as a huge fan of pro wrestling, and then I went to college, and tape trading started to really slow down and DVDs started to get bigger. And when I first started to buy wrestling DVDs, he's one of the first wrestlers I was watching along with Bryan. And I think the two of them go together very well. I think to this day, it's obviously, it is very evident in Nigel's commentary, the rivalry, what it means. But also I think there's a lot of wrestling fans that those guys and that era represents something really special to a lot of us. And it's funny, I showed this to a few. I have written wrestling shows a long time before I ever actually became a wrestling promoter, just because I love wrestling, and I'd put shows down on paper. And I was looking back at my email, and in 2008, over 16 years ago, in the summer of 2008, right after I graduated college, I had put a show down, and it was a Wembley show, and it had Bret Hart versus Nigel McGuinness on it. And it was like, that was the match I really wanted to see in 2008, 16 years ago. And to think here we are 16 years ago, and you had not only members of the Hart family here tonight, Dynamite Kid wrestling on the show, Dr. Martha Hart here, but also Nigel McGuinness wrestling in Wembley Stadium 16 years later. We really made it a reality. And also for him to be in that group of people, I think it was something he really wanted to do. And if Nigel was going to make a comeback, it had to be something special and meaningful. And what a collection of people in that match. What a collection of talent, so many stories, so many moments. And the Casino Gauntlet match, talking about 2024, it's been really great because I've been able to sit here, like I said, to have some moments with people I really care about, to be able to sit up here with Renee and Brian and Birdie and have that moment we just had. To have the Sting moment, but also something I've really enjoyed in 2024 is inventing the Casino Gauntlet match, which I think is a really cool match. We've only done it in my hometown so far. Eventually, we're going to have to run this match in a town I don't live in, but we've done it in Jacksonville, LA, and London, and I think it's just the coolest thing. And the people tonight really delivered, and a match is only as great as the fans and the wrestlers in it. And the fans were amazing tonight, and everyone in that match was amazing. And I thought Nigel McGuinness really took it to another level. So thanks for asking. That meant a lot, and I'm really glad I got to talk about that. I really appreciate all of you being here and covering this show. It was a huge success for us to be able to come back here and have a crowd like that and another massive gate. This is huge, and to be able to come back here again next year for Forbidden Door and then plan for All In, it's a big deal. I know some of you traveled a long way to come here, and I hope all of your outlets got their money's worth for those of you that expensed it. But however you got here and however far you traveled, all of you are the ones that really make this possible, not only as wrestling fans, but also as the wrestling media. You know, I've been saying this, if you've done my media calls and scrums, you've been hearing it for 5 years, but a lot of you have been covering AEW since the very beginning, and we never would have gotten off the ground without you giving us a chance and supporting us. And I really appreciate all of you being here tonight. Thank you for coming to AEW All In, and I hope I see you all again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.